On the day of the college entrance exam, the Yandra school beauty hijacked a car to chase after her man. Me, I was already admitted through early placement, so I just sat back and smiled on the day of the college entrance exam. Soon Sun Yan hijacked the school bus again. She wore a white dress, her hair loose, her face pale as death. The moment she stepped on board, she rushed straight to the driver's seat. Before old Joe, the driver, could even react, she had already yanked the steering wheel. Sobbing and screaming, "I need to get to the airport. Gu Huai is leaving. He can't abandon me." The entire bus, over 40 students headed for the exam, erupted instantly. Some screamed, some called her crazy, others pounded on the windows shouting for the teachers. I sat in the very last row, unscrewing the cap on my water bottle and taking a sip. Next to me, Xiao Peng grabbed my arm, frantic. "John Yi, what are you just sitting there for? Go stop her." I looked up at him. His face was flushed red with terror, sweat beading all over his forehead. This scene, I knew it too well. In my past life, he'd grabbed me just like this, shouted the same words. "John Yi, you know how to drive, don't you? Go." And I went. I charged up to wrestle the steering wheel from Sun Yan, trying to bring the bus to a halt, but the bus spun out of control, slammed into the median barrier, and flipped onto its side. No one on that bus made it to the exam. I broke 2 ribs. My right leg was pinned under the seat. The pain so intense I nearly blacked out, but the first words I heard when I woke up weren't gratitude. They were Sun Yan, crying as she pointed at me. It was Zhang Yi who grabbed the steering wheel from me. I was about to stop the bus. He rushed up out of nowhere, and that's why it flipped. She kept crying, her eyes bloodshot. One by one, the other students nodded. Yeah, it was Zhang Yi who ran up there. We all saw it. If he hadn't messed around, we might have still made it to the exam. He's always trying to play the hero, and this time he ruined everything. I opened my mouth to explain, but no one listened. Everyone was crying. Everyone was falling apart. Everyone needed a scapegoat, so I became that scapegoat. My parents sold the house to pay compensation. I was expelled from school, cursed across the entire internet. Someone splashed red paint on my front door. Someone mailed razor blades to my mom. Someone even took my photo, turned it into a black and white funeral portrait and posted it on the school forum with the caption, "How does someone who destroyed over 40 students' futures still have the face to live?" I really didn't have the face to live anymore. Later, I jumped from the hospital rooftop. When I opened my eyes again, I was back on the day of the college entrance exam, back to the day Sun Yan hijacked the school bus, back to the moment when everyone on that bus was waiting for me to go die. Xiao Peng was still yelling, "Zhang Yi, did you hear me? If you don't stop her now, we're all doomed." I glanced down at his hand. In my past life, that same hand had pointed at my nose in the hospital cursing, "Zhang Yi, you owe me my college exam. You owe me my life." Now, he was trying to push me out again. Slowly, I pulled my arm free from his grip. "If you're so desperate, you go." Xiao Peng froze. "What did you say?" I leaned back into my seat, my tone flat. I said, "You go stop her." Xiao Peng's face changed. He looked up at Sun Yan in the front, then at the bus starting to wobble, and his lips trembled. I don't even know how to drive." I laughed. "So, you know it's dangerous, too. Then why did you think I should go?" Xiao Peng was choked silent. The bus was chaos. Someone was crying out, "Sun Yan, stop it. We have the college exam. If you want to chase your man, go alone. Don't drag us into it. Open the door. I want to get off." But Sun Yan wouldn't listen. She clung to the steering wheel, tears streaming down her face. "You don't understand. None of you understand. Gu Huai said he'd wait for me after the exam. He said he'd go with me to the capital. Now he's heading to the airport. He's leaving. I can't let him go." With that, she stomped on the gas. The bus lurched forward violently. Everyone screamed. The water in my bottle sloshed, spilling onto my uniform pants, but I didn't move. I just pulled a phone mount from my backpack side pocket and clipped it onto the back of the seat in front of me. Then I started recording. The camera was aimed straight ahead. Sun Yan sat in the driver's seat. Her hands were on the steering wheel. Old Joe, the driver, had been shoved aside near the door and hadn't even gotten back up yet. The door was half open. The homeroom teacher and a few other instructors were chasing the bus outside, their faces pale as sheets. Everything was crystal clear. Xiao Peng saw what I was doing and found a new target for his anger. "Zhang Yi, what the hell are you recording for?" I looked at the phone screen and adjusted the angle. "Of course I'm recording. Just in case someone later says I was the one who grabbed the steering wheel." The bus went silent for a beat. Someone snapped, "At a time like this, you're saying stuff like that? Jiang Yi, have you lost your mind? You can be reckless all you want, but don't mess with our college exam." I ignored them. They didn't know why I was doing this now. They didn't know the depth of the hatred burning inside me, and they certainly didn't know that I didn't even need to take this exam anymore. 2 weeks ago, I'd already received my early admission letter from Jing University, but the school had kept it quiet for publicity. The homeroom teachers said they'd announce it after the exam to boost recruitment for next year. I agreed. So everyone on this bus thought I was just like them. Thought I had to rush to the exam hall. Thought Sun Yan was about to destroy my future, too. That's exactly why they kept pushing me. Jiang Yi, don't play dead. Aren't you afraid of being late? Your grades aren't that solid anyway. Do you want to repeat a year? You know how to drive, so go. You're pretty good at fighting, aren't you? Where's that guts now? Each sentence stabbed at me. In my past life, that's exactly what drove me forward. I was afraid they'd miss the exam. I was afraid they'd hate me for standing by. I was afraid Sun Yan would kill someone. Was afraid everyone would get hurt. But in the end, they hated me anyway. This time, I wasn't afraid anymore. I secured my phone, pulled out a second backup phone, and dialed the police. "Hello, this is bus number 3 from number 3 high school for the college exam. License plate Ching A7685. Someone has taken control of the school bus. There are 47 exam candidates on board. The vehicle is currently exiting the school's east gate. The driver is Sun Yan from Class 1, Grade 12. The voice on the other end immediately turns serious. "Are you safe right now? What's your speed?" I glanced at the dashboard ahead. Sun Yan didn't know how to drive. The car lurched forward in jerky bursts. The speed still not fully picked up, about 30 to 40. "Please stay on the line. Don't provoke the driver. Don't grab the steering wheel. We're contacting the traffic police immediately." I said softly, "Understood." The call didn't hang up. The recording didn't stop either. I did what I had to do. The rest wasn't my problem anymore. The school bus finally rolled out of the campus gates. The teachers outside couldn't catch up. The homeroom teacher stood by the roadside, tears streaming down her face in desperation. I glanced at her through the window. In my past life, she was the only one who spoke up for me. She said Jiang Yi wasn't that kind of person. But her voice was too soft to be heard over the crying and shouting of all the other parents in the bus. In this life, I'd put the evidence right in front of her, so she wouldn't have to defend me alone anymore. Sun Yan stomped on the accelerator. The bus wobbled and swerved as it surged onto the main road. Her face was soaked with tears, and she kept muttering, "Gu Huai, wait for me. You can't leave. You can't abandon me." Someone in the bus screamed in panic, "Sun Yan, did you ever think about us?" Sun Yan whipped her head around, her eyes bloodshot and terrifying. "What about me? Did any of you think about me? Gu Huai doesn't want me anymore. What am I supposed to do?" The entire cabin went silent. Someone was trembling with rage. "What does your broken heart have to do with us?" Sun Yan shrieked. "Shut up." The bus jerked violently in a sharp turn. Everyone was thrown to one side. Xiao Peng slammed his head against the window, yelping in pain. He clutched his head and glared at me with red-rimmed eyes. "Jiang Yi, are you going to do something or not?" I tightened my seatbelt and looked at him calmly. "I've already called the police." Xiao Peng roared. "What good is calling the police? By the time they get here, we'll already be late." I nodded. "Then, you go." Those 3 words again. Xiao Peng froze once more. Traffic was dense ahead. Sun Yan gripped the steering wheel tightly. She didn't know how to change lanes, check the mirrors, or judge distances. The school bus careened through the morning rush hour. Everyone was terrified, afraid of a crash, afraid of getting hurt, afraid of missing the college entrance exam, and even more afraid of being the one to step up. So, they looked at me because I was the least like a model student. Because I'd been in fights, because I'd once stolen my dad's minivan in middle school and got a school-wide reprimand, because they thought someone like me should step up in a crisis. After all, I wasn't as precious as them. If something happened to me, it wouldn't be such a big loss. In my past life, I didn't understand this until I was dying. In this life, I sat steady and still. The sun outside was blinding. Inside the bus, sobs filled the air. My phone's camera quietly recorded everyone's faces and their self-righteous expressions as they pushed me forward. Chapter 2, they pushed me to save them. I refused to move. The school bus took the wrong route. The normal exam route was to exit from the school's east gate, go straight along Changning Road, then cross 2 intersections to reach the number 1 high school exam site, less than 20 minutes. But Sun Yan was driving in the opposite direction. At the second traffic light, she turned right and headed onto the feeder road leading to the airport expressway. The bus exploded into chaos. She's really going to the airport. We're screwed. We won't make it. The exam starts at 9 o'clock and we can't enter after 8:40. She's going to make us all fail. Sun Yan, are you crazy? Stop the bus. Stop the bus. People started pounding on the doors. Some tried to smash the windows. Others were crying on the phone to their parents. Mom, Sun Yan drove the bus away. She's not going to the exam site. She's heading to the airport. I don't know what to do. I might not be able to take the exam. The sobs spread like a tide. I sat in the last row listening to these sounds, my heart heavy. In my past life, it was the same. At first, they cursed Sun Yan, then they cursed me. After the bus overturned. After everyone lost their chance at the exam, they never mentioned Sun Yan hijacking the bus again. They only remembered the last scene, remembered me charging forward, remembered me grabbing the steering wheel. So, I became the scapegoat. People are always like that. Rather than admit that everything was out of control from the start, they'd rather latch onto the last person they could see. And this time, I wasn't going to put myself in that position. Sun Yan drove faster and faster. She cried while looking at her phone. The screen showed her chat with Gu Wai. She'd sent dozens of messages. Where are you? Don't go. I know I was wrong. You said you liked me. Gu Wai, reply to me. The screen was full of green bubbles, but no replies. She held the wheel with one hand and typed with the other. The bus started to wobble side to side. I raised my voice. Sun Yan, put the phone down. She ignored me. I continued, you're driving a school bus with 47 people on board. You're going to cause an accident. Sun Yan finally turned to look at me. That look was pure hatred. Jiang Yi, are you going to lecture me, too? I said coldly, I'm warning you. Her tears fell harder. You're all so quick to judge. You have no idea how much I love Gu Wai. If he leaves, what's the point of living? I almost laughed. In my past life, she said the same thing. Later, she lived just fine. I was the one who died. A girl in the bus screamed in desperation. If you want to die, do it alone. Don't drag us with you. Sun Yan's hand jerked. The wheel veered sharply. The bus scraped against a passing car. The screech of metal rang out. The driver of the car stuck his head out and cursed. The bus erupted in screams. Again, the girl who yelled at Sun Yan turned pale with fear and didn't dare make another sound. That was Sun Yan's most terrifying quality. She wasn't completely out of control. She knew who was resisting her. She also knew how to use danger to silence everyone. She reveled in that sense of control. In my past life, I initially thought she was just emotionally broken. Later, I realized she was just selfish. So selfish that she believed the whole world should make way for her love. Xiao Peng suddenly stood up. He grabbed the seatbacks and staggered toward me. Jiang Yi, quit pretending. You just warned her, didn't you? Since you have the guts to speak, why don't you have the guts to step up? I looked at him. Warning someone and sending them to their death are two completely different things. Xiao Peng gritted his teeth. You know how to drive. You're quick on your feet. You're not that far from the front. You clearly have a chance to save everyone. With each sentence he spoke, more eyes in the bus turned toward me. Someone muttered in agreement, yeah, Jiang Yi, just give it a try. We can't really let her take us all the way to the airport, can we? Aren't you usually the bravest one? We're all classmates here. You can't just stand by and watch us die. I looked at them. Some had red-rimmed eyes. Some wore expressions of pure desperation. Others spoke with pitiful words, but their eyes were already starting to hold resentment because I hadn't acted yet, because I hadn't stepped up the way they expected me to. I suddenly spoke. Who here wants me to grab the steering wheel? The bus went quiet for a moment. Xiao Peng was the first to say, I do. Then came the second, the third, I want you to, too. Just try it, Jiang Yi. Please save us. I nodded. Then I turned my phone camera toward them. Listen carefully. It's 7:46 a.m. on the morning of the college entrance exam. The school bus has been taken over by Sun Yan, and she's driving toward the airport expressway. Multiple people on this bus are asking me, Jiang Yi, to forcibly take back the wheel, but the police have already made it clear in the call, don't provoke the driver. Don't fight for the steering wheel. If I go for it and the bus flips or someone gets hurt, whose responsibility is it? Everyone in the bus froze. Xiao Peng's face changed color. What are you recording that for? I said calmly, to keep evidence. Aren't you all telling me to go? Then say it to the camera right now. Say that if I grab the wheel and cause a crash, you won't blame me. Say you're willing to testify that it was your idea for me to do it." No one spoke. The ones who had been shouting the loudest all lowered their heads. Zhao Peng opened his mouth, but after a long pause, all he could force out was, "Are you crazy? You want to assign blame at a time like this?" I let out a laugh. "One second you're asking me to risk my life to save you. The next second, you won't take any responsibility, and you all just shut up." The bus fell into an awkward silence. I leaned back into my seat. "So, don't guilt-trip me. I'm not your tool." As soon as I finished, a girl in the front row started crying. "But, what are we supposed to do?" Her name was Qin Jia. In my past life, she was a top student. She could have gotten into a prestigious university. After the accident, she missed the exam, repeated a year, and her mental state collapsed. She ended up at a mediocre second-tier college. She also blamed me. In an interview, she cried and said, "Zhang Yi might have meant well, but he was too impulsive. He ruined that year for all of us." In this life, she was still crying just as hard, but I wouldn't be soft-hearted anymore. I said, "Call the police. Buckle your seatbelt and wait for the traffic cops to intercept us. That's the safest option right now." "But, it's not the option that least messes up the exam," Zhao Peng shouted. I looked at him. "Safety or the exam? Which one do you pick?" Zhao Peng's eyes were bloodshot. "I want both." "Then go talk to Sun Yin yourself." Zhao Peng cursed under his breath, then turned and shouted toward the front. "Sun Yin, can you just stop the bus? I'm begging you. If you want to chase Gu Wai, do it after we get off." Sun Yin didn't listen at all. She stared straight ahead, her lips pale. "It's too late. His flight is at 8:30, I have to catch him." Qin Jia sobbed. "But, our exam is at 9 o'clock. Sun Yin suddenly let out a small laugh. It was light, fragile, and deeply unsettling. "The exam comes every year. There's only one Gu Huai." Everyone in the bus went dead silent. Even I couldn't help but glance up at her. What a line. The exam comes every year. In my past life, that line was never recorded because by then, I had already rushed to the front and was arguing with her. In this life, my phone captured it loud and clear. I could almost imagine how much Sun Yen would be vilified once that recording got out, but I didn't feel sorry for her. People have to take responsibility for what they say. Sun Yen kept driving toward the airport. Her driving was terrible. She nearly crashed several times along the way. The people on the bus went from angry shouting to crying to silence. It was a heavy, suffocating silence. No one knew if the next second would bring a crash. No one knew if they'd still make it to the exam. And no one dared to push me to go up front again because I had made it too clear. Anyone who told me to go would have to bear the consequences, and none of them dared. 8 o'clock sharp, the homeroom teacher called again. This time, her voice was already hoarse. "Zhang Yi, where are you now?" I glanced at the road sign outside, on the airport expressway access road, about to hit the ramp. The teacher gasped. "The police are already chasing you. Whatever you do, don't move." I said, "I know." She paused for a moment, then asked quietly, "Are you okay?" My eyes flickered. Out of everyone on this bus, she was the only one who asked if I was okay first. In my past life, it was the same when she came to see me in the hospital. Her eyes were redder than I'd ever seen. She said, "Zhang Yi, your teacher believes you didn't mean it. But back then, trust couldn't save me." I said softly, "Teacher, I'm fine." She let out a sigh of relief. "Stay calm. Don't be reckless. Don't be reckless this time." I could hear the worry in her voice. She was probably afraid I'd rush up there again. I smiled. "Don't worry. I won't." There was a 2-second silence on the other end, then she said softly, "Good, your teacher trusts you." The call ended. I looked out the window. The sunlight was blinding, stinging my eyes, but inside the bus, it was dead silent. Everyone was waiting for Sun Yen to come to her senses, waiting for the police to block the road, waiting for a miracle. Only I knew that miracles. I had already traded my life for one in my past life. In this life, I wasn't trading again. Chapter 3, they finally realize I don't have to take the exam. At 8:13, the school bus merged onto the airport expressway. The faces of everyone inside had completely turned ashen. When the wheels hit a speed bump, the whole bus jolted violently. Qin Jia's admission ticket slipped from her hand and fell to the floor. She bent down to pick it up, tears dripping one by one onto the clear plastic pouch. Xiao Peng kept checking his phone. 8:14, 8:15, 8:16. 44 minutes until the Chinese exam starts. Under normal circumstances, getting back to City Number 1 High School Exam Center from here would be absolutely impossible. Not unless Sun Yen pulled over right now. Not unless the traffic police arranged an immediate transfer. Not unless the exam center made an exception. But everyone knew the college entrance exam wouldn't wait for anyone. It wouldn't wait for a beauty queen who'd lost control. It wouldn't wait for a hijacked school bus. And it sure as hell wouldn't wait for a bunch of unlucky students. The crying inside the bus grew louder. Someone started pounding the seat in despair. Someone else cursed Sun Yan's ancestors back 18 generations. Then, out of nowhere, someone shouted at me, "Jiang Yi, how the hell can you stay so calm?" I turned my head. It was Li Mingho, usually ranked in the top 10 of our grade. He looked down on problem students like me. In my past life, he'd said in front of the camera, "Jiang Yi has always been impulsive. Everyone knows that." That he'd grab the steering wheel. I'm not surprised at all. Now, his glasses were crooked, his eyes bloodshot. "Aren't you anxious? You've got the exam, too. Are you brain damaged or something?" I looked at him and said nothing. My silence only fueled his irritation. "Your grades might not match mine, but you're not bad. You seriously want to repeat a year because of Sun Yan? Your family isn't well off, right? Your parents work hard to put you through school. Why aren't you fighting for it?" Every word echoed from my past life. My parents, not well off, working hard to put me through school. So, I should fight. So, I should rush forward. So, I should risk my life. I found it almost laughable. These people, when they urged me to die, always managed to wrap their reasons in noble rhetoric, as if it were for my own good, not for theirs. I asked calmly, "If you're so desperate to get back to the exam hall, why don't you fight?" Li Mingho's face turned ashen. "I can't drive, and I'm not obligated to take more risks than I am." He was stumped. The bus fell silent again. Just then, sirens wailed from up ahead. Everyone's eyes lit up. "The police are here. We're saved. Make her stop." 2 police cars pulled up from behind. A voice boomed through the loudspeaker. "School bus ahead. Slow down and pull over immediately. Driver, stay calm. Do not continue driving." Sun Yan, hearing the sirens, visibly panicked. She sobbed and shook her head. No. I haven't seen Gu Huai yet. I can't stop." Instead of slowing down, she floored the accelerator. The bus engine let out a dull roar. Desperate screams erupted inside. "Sun Yan, you're insane. The police are here. And you won't stop. Do you want to kill us all?" Sun Yan suddenly shrieked, "I said I want to see Gu Huai. No one's stopping me." She yanked the steering wheel hard, swerving to avoid a slowing truck. The bus body lurched violently. Xiao Peng was thrown straight off his seat. Qin Jia's head slammed into the seat in front, her forehead turning bright red. I gripped the handrail, my phone still recording steadily. If he really liked you, he wouldn't have left on exam day. If he really cared about you, he wouldn't have let you lose your mind like this alone. Sun Yan's hands on the wheel began to shake. Shut up. My voice was low, but clear enough. "Sun Yan, you're not chasing a guy right now. You're chasing someone who doesn't want you at all. You're betting the futures of everyone on this bus, and it won't make him look back at you even once." "Shut up," Sun Yan screamed. Just then, her phone rang. Caller ID, Gu Huai. The bus went dead silent. Sun Yan answered with trembling hands, putting it on speaker. "Gu Huai." Her voice went soft. "Where are you? Can you wait for me, please?" A male voice crackled through, barely holding back anger. "Sun Yan, have you lost your mind?" Her face went pale. "I just wanted to see you." Gu Huai let out a cold laugh. "You hijacked a school bus. You brought a busload of exam takers to the airport to find me. Do you have any idea what you're doing?" Sun Yan sobbed. "I was afraid you'd leave. What do I do if you go?" Gu Huai paused for a second, his voice turning even colder. "What does me leaving have to do with you? When did I ever agree to be with you?" Sun Yan froze. Everyone on the bus froze, too. Gu Huai continued, "I just said we could grab a meal together after the exams. You were the one who went around telling everyone I was your boyfriend. You were the one who said I was going to marry you. Sun Yan, I didn't call you out before because I was being polite, but now that you've caused this mess, I'm telling you straight, I have nothing to do with you. Stop ruining my life." Sun Yan's face turned almost translucent white. Her lips quivered. "No, you said you liked me." Gu Huai snapped irritably, "I said you have good grades, you were pretty, and a lot of people liked you. Is that me saying I like you? Sun Yan, can you stop living in your own fantasy? And for the record, I'm not even going to the airport. I'm heading to the provincial team for check-in. You chased in the wrong direction." The call ended. The bus was dead silent. Chased in the wrong direction. Those 4 words hit harder than any insult. Sun Yan went limp. She stared blankly ahead, tears frozen on her face, motionless. But the bus kept speeding down the highway. I immediately raised my voice. Sun Yan, watch the road. She didn't hear me. The bus began to drift. A delivery truck loomed ahead. The distance closed fast. Sun Yan, I shouted. She snapped back to reality and yanked the wheel instinctively. The school bus scraped past the truck's rear. The entire bus erupted in screams. In that moment, everyone fell apart. Qin Jia cried out, "We're dead." Li Mingho covered his face, muttering, "It's over. It's all over." Xiao Peng suddenly turned to me again. This time, his eyes held not just fear, but resentment. "Zhang Yi, did you know this was coming?" I looked up. Xiao Peng stared me down. "You're way too calm. You've been recording from the start. You're not someone who's actually taking the college entrance exam. Is there something you're hiding from us?" The others in the bus slowly caught on. "Yeah, why isn't Zhang Yi panicking at all? How come there's no stationery pouch in his bag? I thought it was weird earlier. He didn't even bring his admission ticket. Zhang Yi, what's your deal?" All eyes were on me again, but this time it wasn't to force me to save them. It was suspicion. I looked at them. A strange calm settled over me. I'd been hiding it long enough. It was time. From the very bottom of my bag, I pulled out a file folder. Inside was a copy of my early admission notice from Jing University. I held it up. Everyone in the bus froze. Xiao Peng's eyes bulged almost out of his head. "What is that?" I said flatly. "Early admission notice to the math department at Jing University. Came down 2 weeks ago. So, I don't need to take the exam." The entire bus fell into dead silence. A few seconds later, Xiao Peng exploded. "You don't need to take the exam? Then why the hell are you on the exam transport bus?" I looked at him. "The school arranged for me to ride along and cheer you guys on. Is there a problem?" "Of course not. The real reason was that I needed to see this unfold with my own eyes. Had to be on this bus myself. I had to wash every drop of filth they threw at me in my past life one by one, but I wasn't going to tell them that." Xiao Peng's eyes burned red with rage. "So, you were never afraid of being late. You're enjoying watching us miss the exam, aren't you?" I smiled. "You've got it wrong. The one who made you miss the exam is Sun Yan, not me." Li Mingho gritted his teeth. "But you had a chance to stop it." I put the notice away. "Here we go again. Just because I didn't get destroyed, you think I'm guilty? Just because I don't have to take the exam, you think I should risk myself for you? Why should I?" No one in the bus answered. I stood up. Everyone flinched, thinking I was heading to the front, but I just shifted position, aiming my phone camera at the whole bus. "Now you know, I don't need to take the exam. So from this moment on, you'll hate me even more. You'll think that since I don't have to take the test, I should save you even more. But I'll say it again, the one who hijacked the bus is Sun Yan. The one who took the wrong road is Sun Yan. The one who refused to stop is Sun Yan. The one who made you miss the exam is also Sun Yan. I called the police, I recorded, I reminded you to buckle up. Every single thing I did was to minimize the damage. If any of you think I should have grabbed the wheel, step forward now and say it on camera. Say that you'll take responsibility if something goes wrong." Silence again, a suffocating, crushing silence. I smiled. "See, you still don't dare." Sun Yan suddenly let out a laugh. It was a light, strange laugh. "So you don't need to take the exam." She slowly turned her head, her eyes bloodshot. "Zhang Yi, no wonder you weren't in a hurry. You've already made it. Of course you could sit back and watch the show." I looked at her. "Sun Yan, don't try to pin this on me. Even if you packed this bus with early admission students, hijacking it to chase Gu Huai is still a crime. Just because no one was ruined by you doesn't mean you're innocent." She shuddered. The next second, the police checkpoint ahead came into view. 3 patrol cars were parked sideways, spike strips covered the ground. The voice from the loudspeaker grew louder. "Slow down immediately. Stop immediately." Sun Yan stared ahead, her eyes turning wild. "No, I can't stop." Xiao Peng screamed in terror. "She's still going to ram through." I gripped the handrail tight. "Everyone, duck your heads and hold on." The words barely left my mouth. Sun Yan floored the gas pedal. The school bus charged straight at the checkpoint. Chapter 4. After missing the exam, they started looking for a scapegoat. The sound of tires bursting ripped through the air. The moment the left front wheel hit the spike strip, the bus lurched violently. The body of the vehicle shook hard. Screams pierced my eardrums. I was slammed back into my seat by the seatbelt, my chest aching with a dull pain. Someone in the front row hit the back of a seat, blood streaming from their nose instantly. Xiaopeng tumbled into the aisle. Clutching his arm and howling, Sun Yan finally let go of the steering wheel. The bus scraped along the guardrail for over a dozen meters before crashing into a crash barrier with a loud bang. The bus stopped. It didn't flip this time. It didn't flip. I leaned back in my seat and closed my eyes. The ringing in my ears was deafening. That bone-shattering, glass-shattering, limb-breaking agony from my past life still seemed to linger in my body, but this time, I was still sitting upright. My legs weren't broken. My phone was still recording and my life hadn't been dragged into the mud by them. The door was pried open from the outside soon after. Traffic police and paramedics rushed in. Anyone seriously injured? Nobody moved. Check your head and neck first. Sun Yan was pulled out of the driver's seat by 2 officers. She looked hollow, still muttering, "Gu Huai doesn't want me anymore. He doesn't want me." No one felt sorry for her. The students were helped off the bus one by one. Some were crying. Some were cursing. Some were slumped on the ground. The airport highway ramp was chaos. Ambulances, police cars, teachers, parents, everyone had arrived and the time was already 8:45, 15 minutes after the Chinese exam started. No one was allowed into the testing center. They wouldn't make it. Over 40 students on this bus. None of them would make it. When that reality sank in, the crying was even worse than during the crash. Qin Jia clutched her admission ticket, sobbing so hard she could barely breathe. I already repeated a year. I really did repeat a year. I was just 1 day away. Li Mingho crouched on the ground, his eyes hollow. His father rushed over and slapped him across the face. "What are you doing here? Aren't you supposed to be at the exam hall?" Li Mingho's lips trembled. He couldn't utter a word. Xiaopeng's mother wailed and cried, grabbing the traffic officer and pleading, "Can you let them in to take the test? They're the victims." "It's not that. They were late. The car was hijacked." The traffic officer's face was heavy, but all he could say was, "We'll contact the education department to explain the situation. Whether anything can be done depends on higher-ups." Everyone knew the odds were slim. The college entrance exam wasn't a school quiz. It wasn't something you could redo just because you cried the hardest. So, despair quickly turned into anger. Anger needed an outlet. Soon, someone lunged at Sun Yan. "You crazy girl, you ruined my daughter. Why don't you just die?" The police held back the parents. Sun Yan curled up in fear, crying and shaking her head. "I didn't mean to. I just wanted to see Gu Huai. I didn't want to hurt anyone." That sentence lit a fuse. "Didn't mean to? Then why did you steal the car? What about our kids' exams? Can you afford to pay for this? Think your family's rich makes you special." Sun Yan cried even harder. Then, in the crowd, she suddenly spotted me. In that instant, I clearly saw a flicker in her eyes. It wasn't hope. It was finding a lifeline. She raised her hand, pointing at me, her voice trembling. Zhang Yi could have stopped me. He knows how to drive, and he doesn't have to take the exam. He just sat there watching." The crowd went silent. Many parents immediately turned to look at me. Xiaopeng, as if snapping awake, scrambled up from the ground and pointed at me, shouting, "Yeah, Zhang Yi doesn't need the exam. He's already been admitted to Jingda University." He was recording the whole time. He deliberately watched us suffer. Qin Jia's sobs paused and she looked up at me. Li Mingho's expression shifted. That familiar feeling from my past life came rushing back. They were at it again. When the real culprit was too painful for them to accept, they instinctively sought an easier target. Sun Yan was crazy. The Sun family had money. The police were there. They couldn't necessarily do anything to her right away. But I was different. I was a classmate. I was in the car. I was calm. I wasn't seriously injured. I didn't even have to take the exam. In their eyes, all of that became a crime. Xiaopeng's mother charged over, pointing at my nose and cursing. "How can you be so heartless? Kid, you don't have to take the exam, so you can just watch other people's kids get destroyed. Are you even human?" I looked at her. In my past life, she was the first to come to my house and cause trouble. She sat at my doorstep, crying and shouting, "The Jiang family must pay for my son's future." She pushed my mom to the ground. My mom's hand was cut by broken glass, requiring 7 stitches. This time, she was back. I didn't back down. I just pulled out my phone. "Auntie, before you speak, take a look at this." She froze. I played the first video. In the footage, Sun Yan rushed into the car, shoved the driver aside, and took the wheel. Her voice was crystal clear. "I'm going to the airport. Gu Huai can't leave. Then came my voice calling the police. License plate number Cheng 7685. Someone is hijacking a school bus. The parents' expressions shifted. Xiaopeng's face went pale. His mother tried to say something. I played the second video. In it, Xiaopeng shouted at me, "Jiang Yi, you know how to drive, don't you? Go pull her away." Then came my question. If I grab the wheel and cause a rollover, who takes responsibility? The entire car fell silent. No one answered. I turned to Xiaopeng. Want to add something now? Xiaopeng's face was ashen. I was just too anxious back then. Being anxious gives you the right to push others to their death? His lips quivered. He couldn't speak. I played the third video. Gu Huai's voice came through the phone recording. When did I ever agree to be with you? Sun Yan, can you stop living in your own fantasy? And I'm not even going to the airport. You're chasing the wrong direction. The crowd went quiet again. Everyone's eyes turned to Sun Yan. She froze completely. Her crying stopped. I played the fourth and final video. Sun Yan's voice said, the college entrance exam happens every year. There's only one Gu Huai. The moment those words came out, Qin Jia's mother completely broke down. She lunged at Sun Yan, but the police held her back. Did you hear what she said? The exam happens every year. My daughter repeated a year. Can you compensate for that? The nosebleed she had from staying up late, the medicine she took, the hair she lost. Can you pay for that? Sun Yan cowered behind the police this time. She couldn't point at me because the evidence was too clear for anyone to pretend to be blind. I put away my phone and turned to the police. The full video is backed up. I'll hand over the original to you, including everyone's statements in the car. A middle-aged officer looked at me. His expression complicated. You handled this very calmly. I said, I just didn't want to be wrongly accused. He said, you did nothing wrong. Those 4 words were light, but when I heard them, my throat tightened. Anyway, in my past life, I waited for those 4 words until I died, and they never came. When the homeroom teacher arrived, her eyes were red. She ran all the way here in high heels. The backs of her feet scraped raw. Seeing me still standing, she visibly relaxed. Jiang Yi. I nodded. Teacher. She walked up to me and looked me over. Are you hurt? Nothing serious. Her eyes grew redder. You didn't rush in, did you? I said. No. She finally looked relieved. Good. This time, you did well. A nearby parent grumbled, Teacher, what do you mean by that? Your student stood by and did nothing, and you're praising him. The teacher whipped her head around. She was usually gentle, but in that moment, her gaze was sharp enough to cut. He called the police. He recorded everything. He reminded his classmates to buckle their seatbelts. He followed the police's instructions. He didn't provoke the driver, and he didn't fight for the steering wheel. He did the right thing. Would you rather have had him lunge for the wheel and flip the whole bus? That parent was speechless. The homeroom teacher turned to Xiaopeng. Xiaopeng, I listened to the video just now. You repeatedly demanded that Jiang Yi grab the wheel. Do you have any idea how dangerous that is? Xiaopeng hung his head. The teacher's voice turned cold. The one who made you miss the exam isn't Jiang Yi. Don't think that just because he got early admission, he owes you his life. The air went still. I watched her, and for a moment, the weight in my chest eased. In my past life, she wanted to protect me like this, too. But back then, there was no evidence. She stood alone against everyone's words. This time, it was different. Sun Yan was soon led into the police car. Before getting in, she turned back to look at me. Her eyes held resentment, hatred, and unwillingness. Jiang Yi. Her voice was hoarse. Did you know this was going to happen all along? I walked up to her. The police didn't stop me. I said quietly, Sun Yan, in my past life, you asked me the same question. She froze. I smiled. But back then, I saved you. And then you said I was the one who hurt everyone. Her pupils shrank slightly. Of course, she didn't understand, but I didn't need her to. I just needed her to remember what I said next. This time, I'm not saving you. You drove this road yourself. Now walk it alone. The police car door slammed shut. Sun Yan's face was hidden behind the glass. She couldn't cry anymore. Chapter 5. This time I didn't miss my own life. That night, everything exploded online. On the day of the college entrance exam, the school beauty hijacked a bus to chase after her crush. 47 students on the bus missed the Chinese exam. The early admission student recorded everything to prove his innocence. The college entrance exam happens every year, but there's only one Gu Huai. That last line was roasted to the top of trending topics. The video wasn't originally posted by me. A passerby had filmed the police intercepting the bus. Later, someone leaked the footage from inside. Sun Yan, sitting in the driver's seat, crying and shouting for Gu Huai, went viral across the internet. Her pretty face became the most ironic backdrop. The comments section was nothing but abuse. This isn't a yandere. This is a crime. Don't use love as an excuse. She ruined a whole busload of lives. The scariest part is her first reaction wasn't to apologize, but to blame others. The early admission student did the right thing. Grabbing the wheel would have been even more dangerous. If he had lunged for it and the bus flipped, it would have been his fault again. So true. Everyone wants someone else to be the hero, but when something goes wrong, they make the hero the scapegoat. I scrolled through the comments one by one. There was no thrill of revenge, just a long overdue exhaustion. The burden I'd carried for years finally felt half lifted. The other half still pressed on my chest because those who missed the exam really did miss it. In my past life, they blamed me. In this life, some still blamed me. They just didn't dare say it out loud anymore. Xiao Peng sent me a lot of messages. The first one said, "Jiangyi, I'm sorry. I was too anxious this morning." The second one said, "But why didn't you tell us earlier that you got early admission?" The third one said, "If you told us sooner, maybe no one would have pushed you." The fourth one said, "My mom's been crying nonstop. I really don't know what to do." The fifth one said, "Can you delete what I said on the bus? I didn't mean to pressure you." After reading them, I blocked him immediately. Li Mingho also sent me a message. It was short. "I don't like you, but you weren't wrong this time." I didn't reply. Qin Jia called me. I answered. On the other end, she was silent for a long time before speaking. "Jiangyi, I'm sorry. I didn't say anything." Her voice was choked with tears. "On the bus, I wanted you to stop Sun Yan, too. I know it was wrong, but I was so scared at that moment. I was afraid a whole year of hard work would go to waste. Later, when I saw the video, I realized that if you had rushed up, we might all have died." She sobbed. "I'm sorry. This time, I didn't hang up like I did with Xiao Peng, because in my past life, even though Qin Jia resented me, she never spread rumors. She just said I was impulsive. She was just in too much pain." I said, "The person you should blame isn't me." She whispered, "I know." After the call ended, I sat at my desk for a long time. My mom pushed the door open, holding a bowl of noodles. She looked at me cautiously. "Son, eat something." I looked up. Her eyes were red. In my past life, after everything happened, she stood at the hospital door with a bowl of noodles just like this, but back then, I didn't take a single bite. Later, I never got the chance again. This time, I took the bowl and took a big mouthful. The steam made my eyes sting. My mom sat beside me and gently stroked my head. "Don't look at too much of what's online. You did nothing wrong." I nodded. "I know." She added, "Your teacher called me today. She said you were very brave." My hand paused. Brave? I thought I was just cold-blooded in this life, just protecting myself, just standing by. But the teacher said I was brave, and my mom said, sometimes not being a hero is a kind of bravery, too. I lowered my head and finished the bowl of noodles. The soup was hot, my throat was hot, too. 3 days later, the college entrance exam ended. The school didn't hold the usual graduation photo session because the bus number 3 incident had blown up too big. The education department finally gave the students on that bus a special case registration. But whether they could retake the exam required layers of approval. Until the result came out, everyone was left hanging. Some broke down, some repeated the year, some accepted adjustments, some prepared to go abroad. As for Sun Yan, the police officially opened an investigation. She was under 18, so she wouldn't be punished too harshly, but her life could never be as clean as before. The Sun family spent a lot of money on compensation. But money couldn't buy back the college entrance exam, nor could it buy back the despair those people felt that morning. As for Gu Huai, he completely disappeared. Rumor had it he deleted all his social media accounts. Some called him a jerk, some said he was innocent, but in my eyes, he was just a shadow in Sun Yan's fantasy. What really destroyed everything wasn't whether he stayed or left, it was that Sun Yan believed the whole world should make way for her emotions. A month later, the admissions list for Jing University was released. My name sat at the very top of the school's official website. Third High finally released my interview. In the video, I stood in my school uniform in front of the teaching building. The reporter asked me, as a student who was already admitted early, why did you still board the exam transport bus on the day of the college entrance exam? I looked into the camera and said, because my teacher said she hoped I would go to cheer on my classmates. And also because I wanted to personally see them off to the exam hall. That wasn't entirely the truth, but it wasn't a lie either. The reporter asked again, after the incident occurred, "You never approached the driver's seat. What was your reasoning?" I said, "The police had warned against fighting for the steering wheel at high speeds. Forcibly grabbing the wheel could cause even more severe consequences. I'm not a professional. What I could do was call the police, record the evidence, and remind my classmates to protect themselves. I don't believe ordinary students should be expected to sacrifice their lives for a responsibility that isn't theirs." After that interview aired, many people said, "This guy is terrifyingly clear-headed." Others said, "Isn't he too cold?" I didn't respond to any of it because I knew only someone who had died once truly understands how precious it is to be alive. In September, I reported to Jing University. The sun was beautiful that day. My dad took the day off and drove me there in that old van. It was still the same van. I had secretly driven it once in middle school, got beaten for it, and was publicly named and shamed by the whole school in my last life. Everyone used that incident to prove I knew how to drive, to prove I should have saved them in this life. Now it was just an old car taking me to college. My mom sat in the passenger seat, turning around constantly to ask me, "Did you bring your admission letter? Did you bring your ID card? Did you bring your bank card? Where did you put the cold medicine?" I smiled and said, "I brought everything." My dad kept driving while complaining she was being too naggy. "Our son is a college student now. Don't treat him like a kid anymore." My mom glared at him. "College student or not, he's still my son." I leaned back in the rear seat, watching the street scene scroll backward outside the window. The school gate, the breakfast shop, the bus stop, the road leading to Third High. Everything was so familiar, and yet it felt like a lifetime away. When we passed by Third High's entrance, I saw that red banner still hanging there, fluttering slightly in the wind. It read, "Youth knows no fear. The future is worth waiting for." In my last life, my future stopped inside that overturned school bus. In this life, I didn't reach for that steering wheel, and so my future finally kept moving forward. When we arrived at Jing University's gate, my parents helped me unload my luggage. My mom's eyes turned red. "Son, study hard," I said, "M.H.M." My dad patted my shoulder. He was never good with words, so he just forced out, "Don't let yourself be wronged." I looked at the gray hair at his temples and suddenly remembered my last life. He had groveled to every parent to pay compensation, lowering his head again and again, even though I hadn't been wronged. He still bent his back, repeating over and over, "I'm sorry." English novel typesetting. In this life, I finally didn't make him bend again. I hugged him. "Dad, I won't." He froze for a moment, then laughed and scolded, "You little brat, why are you suddenly getting all sentimental?" I laughed, too. After finishing the registration procedures, I dragged my suitcase into the campus. There were many new students along the roadside. Some were excitedly taking photos, some were hugging their parents goodbye. Some were lost, some were running around, sweating profusely with their luggage. Everyone was rushing toward their new lives. My phone suddenly vibrated. It was a text from an unknown number. "Jiang Yi, I know you hate me, but I'm destroyed, too. I dream about that bus every night. If you had stopped me that day, would everything have been different?" No signature, but I knew it was Su Yan. I stood under the shade of a tree, staring at it for a long time. Then I replied, "Yes." She quickly sent back, "Really?" I looked at the screen and typed slowly. "If I had stopped you, the bus would have flipped, and then you would have said it was my fault for ruining everything. Su Yan, I've already lived through it once in this life. I don't owe you anything." After sending it, I blocked that number. The wind blew through the sycamore trees, carrying the lively atmosphere unique to the September start of the school year. I put my phone in my pocket and kept walking forward. When I reached the dormitory building, my homeroom teacher sent me a photo. In the photo was this year's honor roll at Third High. My name was at the very top. Next to it was a line of text, "May every young person walk toward their own examination hall." I looked at those words and suddenly laughed. Yeah, everyone has their own examination hall. Sun Yan's exam hall was the steering wheel she grabbed with her own hands. Zhao Pang and the others' exam hall was learning not to push their fate onto others. And my exam hall was that school bus that came around a second time. In my last life, I turned in a blank paper. In this life, I held steady. I didn't save the madwoman and I didn't let myself become the scapegoat again. I just quietly recorded the truth, protected myself, and then walked toward the life that was always meant to be mine. The sunlight fell on the admission letter, a dazzling red. I dragged my suitcase and walked into the dormitory building. Behind me, voices buzzed with life. Ahead, the light was bright. I suddenly thought back to the day of the college entrance exam when Sun Yan hijacked the school bus and everyone was shouting my name, "Jiang Yi, save us. Go." Hurry! I didn't move then. Thinking about it now, that was probably the most correct thing I had done in 2 lifetimes, because not every kind of madness needs someone to die for it. Not every mad person is worth saving. Not every cry for help can become a reason to blackmail someone else. And I finally learned one thing: other people's steering wheels, other people's dead ends, other people's out of control lives, none of them are mine to control. I just need to hold on to my own. In this life, I didn't miss the college entrance exam and I didn't miss myself. The end.